top 10 countries on our list. Number 10, Tanzania. We begin our list of the 10 richest African countries with Tanzania, which boasts a gross domestic product of $62,224,000,000 US dollars, known as the home for some of the continent's most famous national parks, and of course, Mount Kilimanjaro. The country comprises a lower middle mix income economy. The country's economy is largely based on agriculture, contributing almost 25% or a third to gross domestic product, and employing half of the workforce. Industries are a growing component of the economy, which accounts for almost 30% of GDP and includes mining, manufacturing, construction, electricity, shocking, natural gas, and water supply. The main exports include gold, coffee, cashew nuts, and cotton. Tanzania has achieved a relatively high economic growth in recent years with a 5.6 growth percentage rate, but this shows no signs of slowing down in the years to come. The medium-term outlook is positive, which is supported by large infrastructure spending. Tanzania does have a percentage of people living in poverty. Despite the poverty rate decreasing in recent years, the absolute number of people living in poverty has remained the same, interestingly enough. Number 9, Ghana. Ghana is a nation in West Africa and has an economy which is both diverse and rich in resources. With a gross domestic product of $67 billion US dollars, it easily makes our list, coming in at the number 9 spot. The country of Ghana has the distinction of being the first in sub-Saharan Africa to break free from colonial rule. Ghana also proudly boasts the distinction of being the first to achieve the target of having extreme poverty in an African nation. Ghana has a business-friendly government and economy which has attracted foreign investment and can be an example to other governments around the world. Ghana has experienced economic growth of just over 6% in the last 2 years. The service sector contributes to around 50% or half of the Ghanaian gross domestic product and employ almost 30% of the workforce in all. Industry is the next biggest contributor to GDP at just under 25%, followed by agriculture. Ghana has an abundance of natural resources helping to feed an economic boom. Gold is the country's main export, followed by petroleum. Together, these two large-ticket commodities make up 50% of the country's foreign exchange. Other major Ghanaian exports include cocoa beans, timber, and gold. Number 8, Ethiopia. Found in the Horn of Africa, the landlocked country of Ethiopia, split by the Great Rift Valley, is the 8th wealthiest country on the continent of Africa. With archaeological finds dating back over 3 million years, this ancient land is famous for being the place where coffee bean was first discovered. I know I am thankful for Ethiopia each and every morning. Even now, as I speak to you, I'm drinking a lovely cup of coffee. Thank you, Ethiopia. The nation is the highest coffee and honey producer in Africa, making up a large portion of the country's foreign exchange. Other Ethiopian exports include legumes, oily seeds, and cut flowers. The gross domestic product of $91.166 billion US dollars comprises agriculture, construction, manufacturing, tourism, food processing, resources, and energy. Agriculture is the region's most promising resource, making up over 40% of the gross domestic product, 60% of exports, and more than 80% of total employment in all. Ethiopia's economic growth has averaged 9.9% year-on-year for more than 10 years since 2008, making it one of our most stable growth economies on this list. This stable annual growth, something that very few African countries have managed, has begun to attract foreign investment. In 2018, the government launched an ambitious economic reform to open up the economy even further and spearhead transformation. Ethiopia's poverty level fell to 31% by 2015, and it intends to be a middle-income economy by 2025. This fact alone makes Ethiopia a very tempting choice for foreign investors. On the flip side, though, high consumer inflation, socio-political instability, and an underdeveloped private sector are issues to keep an eye on as you watch Ethiopia. Number 7, Angola. The country of Angola has one of the biggest reserves of raw materials in Africa. Essentially, it could be higher up on this list of Africa's richest nations. However, due to resource mismanagement and internal government and private sector corruption, the economy of this country has been negatively affected. Purely by the numbers, though, Boasting a gross domestic product of over 90 billion US dollars, Angola makes number 7 on our list of the top 10 wealthiest countries in all of Africa. Angola's economy is built on oil, with large reserves of natural gas and oil making up over 1/3 of its GDP. The production and export of crude oil contributes significantly to foreign exchange. In fact, 90% of the nation's revenue in the export sector comes from the sale of crude oil. Oil is not the only item exported from the country of Angola, however. Other export items of note include diamonds and cargo ships. Agriculture is also expected to become an important sector for the economy in the next few years. The civil war in Angola ended in 2002, and since that time, positive steps have been taken, striving towards economic advancement and stability. There has been work on both political and structural reforms alongside the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. In the last 15 years or so, the country has experienced one of the fastest growing economies in the world and become one of the richest African countries. Number 6. Kenya. Kenya is a country in East Africa. Kenya is well known for its beautiful, vast landscapes and amazing African wildlife. Kenya makes number 6 on our top 10 wealthiest countries in Africa list, having a gross domestic product of almost 100 billion US dollars. Kenya, with its stable conditions of living as well as an established coffee and tea sector and rapidly growing agricultural sector, is the wealthiest in Southeast and Central Africa. Historically, its coastline has been home to a number of strategic ports for Asian and Arabian traders for centuries, making the country of Kenya a trade hub for the region. The Kenyan economy is not built around the oil sector like so many other countries on this list, but still experiences diverse positive growth. The Kenyan nation has emerged as one of the fastest growing economies in sub-Saharan Africa, growing a gross domestic product by 5.7% in 2019. This as a result of positive investor confidence, a stable political climate and service sector, a good macroeconomic environment, and a clear business agenda. The industrial sector contributes almost 50% of the gross domestic product, whilst the agricultural sector contributes to 35% of the GDP, with the main products being coffee, tea, and maize. Fast growth was also experienced in the tourism, financial services, and technology industries, while petroleum comprises a significant part of its foreign exchange. Number 5. Morocco. With a gross domestic product of almost 120 billion in US dollars, Morocco comes in at the halfway spot on this list of the 10 wealthiest countries in all of Africa. The economy of this country in North Africa is versatile and extremely stable, experiencing growth in a number of industries over the last decade. Morocco is the second richest non-oil producing country in Africa. The country's economy is driven by mining and manufacturing. 30% of Morocco's GDP comes from industry, 15% from agriculture, and 55% from the services sector. Morocco also boasts a growing tourism sector, with locals being extremely welcoming of tourists, and the Moroccan government placing a strong emphasis on attracting visitors to the country. Morocco is a natural fit for this, as it is well known for many stunning attractions in the country. Morocco relies heavily on its agriculture and is the third largest producer of phosphorus in the world. The country has benefited greatly from its diversified exports, not limited to electrical equipment, vehicles, and vehicle parts. Finally, the telecom and textile industries bring a lot to the economy of Morocco as well. Number 4 on our list, Algeria. The largest country by area, located on the north part of the African continent, Algeria makes the 4th spot on our list of the 10 wealthiest countries in Africa. Boasting a significant economy and available infrastructure and a gross domestic product of over 170 billion US dollars, that's with a B, the country boasts a notable achievement of reducing poverty by 20% within the last 20 years. Well done, Algeria. Crude oil reserves are abundant in this developing Saharan country, and the economy is heavily reliant on it. So much so that hydrocarbons, also known as oil and natural gas, make up almost 70% of the income of the country. A recent discovery of more crude oil reserves have boosted this rapidly growing industrial country. Other sectors that make up the Algerian economy include agriculture, industrial works, commercial services, and construction. Algeria is also known for being one of the largest suppliers of ammonia in Africa, which is used in household and commercial building cleaning products. However, it is worth noting that the recent depression and instability in oil prices have resulted in a decline in the country's currency reserves. Algeria also suffers from political uncertainty as well as scandals in the hydrocarbon industry. These negatives have caused a dip in Algeria's economic growth in recent years. Number 3. Egypt. Making it to number 3 on our list is the historic nation of Egypt. This ancient land in northern Africa would have been number 1 on our list of the top 10 wealthiest countries in the continent for many years. However, the economy suffered severely and foreign exchange reserves tumbled following the 2011 revolution during the Arab uprising. With most of the recent gross domestic product of over $300 billion in US dollars, Egypt has slipped since and now comes in 2 from the top spot on our list. Economic activities have improved and stabilized over the last decade to experience positive economic growth. The government recently concluded an economic reform program alongside the International Monetary Fund aimed at reforming and bolstering the economy of Egypt. Real GDP growth reached 5.6% in 2019, up from 5.3% in 2018. Egypt has also seen unemployment levels fall, an improvement in foreign exchange reserves, higher export of goods and services, and a bolstered tourism sector, all contributing to its development. The leading contributors of this economy in Egypt include petroleum and natural gas exports, tourism, wholesale and retail trade, construction, and real estate. The country, known for pyramids, Cleopatra, and the Sphinx, has diversified its economy away from just raw material exports in recent years, and over half of the GDP now comes from the service-based employment sector. Egypt may also face some socio-economic issues, though, due to a large percent of people living below the poverty line, unemployment, a weak healthcare system, and a global slowdown in the past year as a result of the lingering COVID-19 issues in the world. Number 2. South Africa. The most southern country in the continent of Africa is another significant player on the continent and comes in at number 2 on our list of the top 10 wealthiest African countries. With a highly developed economy, advanced infrastructure, and a gross domestic product of over $350 billion in US dollars, the country is considered one of the fastest developing countries in the entire world. Mzansi, often referred to as the Rainbow Nation, South Africa is one of the only countries on this list that is not reliant on a single source of revenue. The country has a good mix of mining, manufacturing, financial services, and tourism. South Africa is also abundant in natural resources and raw material exports like the likes of gold, diamonds, platinum, coal, and iron ore. South Africa, one of the world's largest exporters of these commodities, particularly gold and platinum. The country is world-renowned and a great destination for tourists, with its stunning landscape diverse in every way, including beaches that are beautiful, mountains, areas full of wildlife including every species of the Big Five, such as the Kruger National Park, and these factors contribute heavily to the economy of this great nation. It is important to note here, however, that political and global turmoil have hindered South Africa's ability to meet its full potential. The country was faced with a recession after experiencing consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth rates, and development has slowed, growing its gross domestic product by only 0.2% in 2019. South Africa has the highest rates of inequality in the world, with many living in poverty. We've now made it to number 1 on our list of the 10 wealthiest countries in Africa. Number 1 is Nigeria. This country, located in West Africa, boasting a population of over 200 million people, makes up an essential part of the African economy and has earned the top spot on our list of the 10 wealthiest countries in Africa. Nigeria has a gross domestic product of just under $450 billion in US dollars, which puts it in the position of the richest country in Africa. The sizable gross domestic product is mainly driven by finance, transport, infrastructure, tourism, and an abundance of crude oil. The country records around 1.6 million barrels of crude oil per day, according to OPEC, making it the largest exporter of crude oil in all of Africa. These petroleum exports make up 10% of the total gross domestic product and over 80% of the export sector revenue. In addition to petroleum, Nigeria has an abundance of raw materials and natural resources, contributing to the region's wealth. These include coal, limestone, zinc, lead, tin, natural gas, niobium, and iron ore. There's also sufficient fertile land for agriculture, which is responsible for over 20% of the gross domestic product, producing cocoa and rubber. The large population have helped to propel Nigeria as the largest consumer retailer in Africa, and the digitally aware residents have contributed to the country's fastest growing tech sector. According to the World Bank, Nigeria's gross domestic product grew 7% year on year between 2000 and 2014, one of the fastest rates in all of Africa. This has slowed to 2% in recent years due to political instability, socioeconomic factors, and oil and production shocks. The country has placed a strong emphasis on protecting its natural resources, making efforts to move away from its large reliance on oil refineries and processing plants. Nigeria is known for its vibrant cultural heritage, vast ethnicities, natural splendor, and large population. Well, that completes our list of the top 10 wealthiest countries in Africa. How many of these surprised you? Do you live in one of these 10 countries? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to give this video a like, and while you're at it, hit the subscribe button as well as the bell to be notified when Afropage releases a new video. Don't go anywhere, we have plenty more great videos like this one waiting for you. Here's one I think you might like. Enjoy!